Hello and welcome to Rock, Paper, Shotgun. It's been just over a month since Reclamation Day, where we stepped out of Vault 76 and into the West Virginian Wasteland. Many took one look at the technical shortcomings of Fallout 76 and decided they didn't actually want to reclaim this world, but the Vault just won't let you back in. This is your life now, whether you like it or not. So I decided to make the most of it and have been playing, at quite a casual pace, for the last month, to see whether there's more to it than that poor first impression. Before I go into that, a very quick thank you to Shadow for supporting the channel. For more info on their impressive cloud-based PC, check the link in the description. I've only played Fallout 76 for about 45 or so hours, squeezing time around Christmas shopping and home disasters. Somehow my cat made my refrigerator explode. How does something that looks like this take down this absolute unit of a fridge? It's the kind of nonsense outcome I'd expect from, well, Fallout 76. A world where bobby pins weigh a tenth of a pound, or a world where you can snipe down an entire swarm of bees with a single bullet, or a world where you can sleep on a stupidly ornate bed next to a row of smoking death turrets. It's a really weird place, but it's also not a totally horrible place. Well, not as horrible as my early beta experience was. I've tried to keep an open mind and have collected thoughts on what does and doesn't work. Of course, if you're enjoying this video as it goes along, we'd love for you to give it a like and to subscribe to Rock, Paper, Shotgun. Research tells us that people who do subscribe are filled with a warm inner light, just like Fallout 76's glowing ones. Only we promise not to hit subscribers with a super sledge. Now, onwards with the video. My main complaints from my early time with the game was the presence of other people. People who rushed around like headless chickens, or queued up to do the same quests as me, or had stupid names like Coctimus Prime. People who made it hard to buy into the role-playing of the world. I know Vault-Tec has committed all kinds of heinous social experiments, but filling one vault exclusively with gamers? That was their most twisted work yet. But those first few hours aren't representative of the game that follows. For starters, the bottleneck of the opening area, the one that forces everyone to swarm flatwards for the same introductory quests, vanished soon after launch. Without it, it's actually quite rare that you meet other people. It's the biggest map Bethesda has ever made, and there's only a couple of dozen people in the server with you. Likewise, the recent introduction of Press to Talk means you can play with a mic without subjecting everyone in the Wasteland to the sound of your air conditioning unit, or your housemates arguing about whether the cat should be put down for breaking the fridge. Though I get the feeling that many people have just muted the mic chat from those early days and just not turned it back on. Even full squads can be strangely quiet. And PvP never really comes to anything. I've been set upon by strangers twice in the entire time I've played, and both times they got so bored of the minimal damage they were doing, they just gave up. You see, you have to attack back for combat to properly start. The one time I did instigate combat was stealing an occupied workshop. If you are looking for a fight, this is the quickest way of finding one. Maybe I've just lucked out in the servers I get, but PvP just isn't an issue. It's toothless, verging on pointless. It's actually fine for a wimp like me who doesn't want to be murdered, but I thought it worth mentioning for any psychos who are hoping for something a bit more raw and edgy. So what about the more positive multiplayer interactions? You know, playing with your friends? What I still don't understand is why there's so little interesting interplay within a multiplayer squad. The benefits of teaming up really boil down to more firepower, shared perk cards, and using people as free fast travel points. Rather shamefully, I've started using total strangers to try and cut down on travel costs. I just open up the map and send random team requests to people closest to where I want to go. It works often enough to make it worth doing. But there's no subtlety to how teams work. There's no buffs or abilities to allow people to assume different class roles. Everyone just throws more damage into the mix. In action, it's like one of those dust cloud punch-ups. There's fun to be had tearing through enemy ranks, but there's no strategy, no memorable achievements. Every anecdote is, remember that time we killed lots of insert name of thing you killed? I've seen some people bemoan the lack of wider multiplayer support, the lack of guilds, clans or alliances that would give the world some higher structure and a sense of permanence. But when the base level is as crude as it is here, there are bigger fish to fry. Play pretty much any co-op shooter, and we've got a video of suggestions popping up on screen now, and you'll find more interesting relationships. That isn't to say it's not fun to run around with your friends, but I think that has more to do with the fact that they're your friends. Everything you do with your friends is meant to be fun, that's why they're your friends. If it wasn't fun, they'd be your enemies. Like the cat that messed up my fridge. She's my enemy now, and I won't play Fallout 76 with her. You do feel some sense of focus during events, where objectives give a team a bit of collected purpose. Protecting a robot as it goes about its duties, or guarding machinery spread over a large area, adds a sense of priority that is missing from every other fight in the game. But even then, events can be completed by one person and never truly push a group. Take the infamous Feed the People task, a mission in a canning factory that's meant to be a madcap dash to grab ingredients and fix broken parts. But you're given ages to do it and can lose whole machines without failing the task. What a perfect opportunity it would be to split a team up, giving everyone a task on the production line. You defend, you find the beef stock, and I'll test the delicious stew for quality control. But no stew testing for me. Instead, you get this, a bored man watching an oven, praying for a ghoul to come along and make life more interesting. Now, you've probably heard about Feed the People for other reasons. The event used to reward everyone in the server a can of stew, until Bethesda patched the reward out. For starters, what kind of villain thinks that too much stew is a problem? That is proper Ebenezer Scrooge territory. Secondly, have they seen the remaining bug list? An overabundance of casserole is the least of Fallout 76 problems. But it speaks to a wider mistake too. The idea of events having influence on the entire server is a good one. It gives events some permanence, makes it feel like you're helping with rebuilding the world. You know, the entire point of the game. Instead of patching it out, they should be adding more community rewards. Bond us together, give us a collected goal. Bethesda say longer in-game events are coming in 2019, week-long events that'll provide buffs or other twists on normal gameplay. I hope they can deliver that, as the game is in desperate need of some glue to hold its action together.
Hello there!
Of course, if you're not dealing with the presence of other humans, you're contending with the absence of virtual people. Much has been said about the lack of traditional human NPCs, how it makes the world feel totally dead, or how it deflates every quest when you know it's going to end with you talking to a robot or interacting with a terminal. Some people make the case that the robot NPCs are a perfectly fine substitute. But this argument requires you to overlook Rose, who's probably one of the most annoying characters since Borderlands Claptrap.
Plus, it's not like I'm risking my life here. Always a bonus.
Secondly, it's not about the physical form of the NPC, but the meaningful interaction you have with them. In a world with no dialogue choices or branching quest objectives, in a world with no personal consequences, in other words, an NPC is nothing but an art asset that sprays exposition in your face. You can make the case that Fallout 4 already screwed up quest consequences so badly that it in effect killed off NPCs, but it at least gave an illusion of life much better than Fallout 76. All these hours in, I'm still underwhelmed by every fresh interaction I have. But, and that's a but in capital letters, for how terribly the exposition is delivered, I do enjoy finding out about West Virginia. At times, the total lack of life turns it into a quasi-walking simulator as you explore a series of bunkers of the Free States, think Doomsday Preppers. It paints a thorough picture of their community and outlook as you poke around in their sad little bedrooms. Piecing a story together from diary entries and journals is almost like Gone Home, only instead of dealing with your parents' failing marriage, you have to fight a crab that turns into a bus. The downside to this drip feed of lore is that Fallout 76 wasn't made to support you at a slow pace. Play with a team and they don't want to pause while you digest 10 wordy diary entries, and play by yourself and you're trying to peruse the lore in hostile territory where enemies can respawn and punch you in the spine like an army of jocks picking on the dweebs in the library. This mix of low-energy storytelling, high-pressure setting is one of Fallout 76's endless contradictions. The delivery of quests would matter less if they were more interesting. One of my main gripes with Fallout 76 is that the main quest line is a tedious walking tour of West Virginia. It takes you around different regions, introduces various factions, who all feel alike as you join them all with relatively little fuss, and it reveals the limited spread of interactions underpinning the entire game. You can craft, you build, you kill. At one point, the game seems to poke fun at its own dumb busywork as you drown in robot bureaucracy to try and claim an ID card. Fallout 76 literally makes a quest out of queuing at the DMV, complete with agonisingly slow ticketing system and an endless chain of forms to fill in.
Acquire DMV AT21C-V. Authorization from Charleston Courthouse. Have a nice day.
For us back in the UK, substitute DMV with Post Office on the last day of mail before Christmas to understand the kind of misery I'm talking about. It's one of the rare moments where Fallout 76 finds some of that satirical spark of the earlier games, but at the same time it draws attention to the fact that most quests are like this. This vision of bureaucratic hell, ripped straight out of Terry Gilliam's Brazil, is the template for 90% of what you do in Fallout 76. Laughing at a problem doesn't solve the problem. Fallout 76 does overcome this at times. There are quests where their setting or theme are good enough to distract you from the breadcrumb trail of objective markers. I love the quest about a group of female superheroes that feels like a successor to Fallout 4's Silver Shroud story, complete with secret underground base and one of the more dramatic story revelations in the game. It would definitely hit harder if you could actually confront the living people behind the secret society's demise, but even as it is, it adds the closest thing the game has to a spark of life. But for all of this, I'm still having fun in Fallout 76. Much of that comes from setting my own agenda and ignoring the tedious requests the game makes of me. I think the happiest I've been is when I have a particular goal in mind, building this excavator power suit for example. With a very specific list of ingredients for my very specific toy, I can settle into a very specific role of scavenger. It's easy to underestimate the allure of looting a world of junk. There's so much of the stuff that you can take it for granted, only seeing generalised clutter instead of riches. When you have a shopping list of springs, adhesive and screws, the game becomes more exciting. I've actually punched the air when I found a pile of battered clipboards. And it was great, but I have also never felt closer to the grave than I did in that moment. I begin to think more like a scavenger, looking in garages for oils and offices for typewriters. Maybe I spend precious caps on a mining map to find a sweet vein of black titanium. It's hardly deep logic, but it's the point where my view shifted from the yellow objective markers to the world around them. The sense of satisfaction when I finally finished my excavation suit was about as good a moment as I've had in Fallout 76. This one piece of kit boosted my inventory size by 100 and gave me a fighting chance against horrible beasts I was running into. I guess it taps into that permanence that I mentioned before. West Virginia is an elastic world that resets to its base state every time you change server, but this suit is the evidence of an achievement, of a difference made. I've also grown to appreciate the map, partly through having time to explore it, partly because they finally patched in a depth of field slider, which means you don't have to view everything as if you had cataracts. Setting the game early in Fallout's overall timeline gives it a world unlike any that has come before it. Because West Virginia dodged the worst of the nukes, and only 25 years have passed, means there are areas where you could be fooled into thinking that nothing actually went wrong. I really dig the pristine green lawns of White Springs Golf Club, for example, where diligent groundskeeper robots keep it as a snapshot of the pre-nuke world. Although if these jousting skeletons are any indicator, I'm not sure it was such a bad thing that the bombs did drop on these idiots. Exploring relatively untouched locations such as this whisks me back to how exciting it was to briefly enter Tranquility Lane in Fallout 3, that little white picket fence VR prison, or that tiny slice of paradise you glimpse at the start of Fallout 4. Discovering a pocket of frozen time in Fallout 76 is a great reward for exploring, better than any of the physical rewards you're given. If you get into the base building side of the game, it becomes quite fun trying to find a beautiful location to set up home. One of my biggest complaints with Fallout 4's settlement rebuilding was that no matter how much effort you put into an appealing base, it was always set in that endless plain of brown rubble. And thanks to a recent update, the game will now tell you if someone has the same spot as you and offer to take you to a server where it is free. I've not been able to test this feature for myself, as my house is built in a really ugly part of town, high on the hill overlooking Freddy Fear's House of Scares. Needless to say, I don't plan to raise a family here. It's not the best house you'll ever see, though I do enjoy drawing up mutants towards my gun balcony and raining down death on them. Like the excavator suit, it finally feels like I've made a mark on this world, and it's really amazing what a big psychological effect such a tiny improvement can have. So, 1 month on, and Fallout 76 is cleaning up its act in some regards. But this was a game with a real messy act in the first place. I've all but given up on workshops, for example, because when the server disconnects, you're forced to reclaim them all over again. And the server disconnects have happened a lot in the last few days, since the last big update. Oh, and the fact that the game freezes when I try to exit a desktop. That's really amateur hour. But in the minute-to-minute action, it isn't the total disaster some have painted it as. Not on my PC at least. Visually, I find the frame rate smooth and the world relatively well behaved. I've laughed at the same glitch videos as everyone else, but they don't reflect my experience with the game for the last few weeks. And the slow drip feed of quality of life improvements, the field of view slider, the push to talk mics, have ticked a few regular complaints off the list. I can't speak to the ultra-wide monitor support they've added. I've heard it stretches the interface in strange ways, but I don't own one to test it. Let us know in the comments if you've experienced good or bad things. The game is getting there, and its apparent lack of success is seeing that price plummet towards something approaching acceptable for the quality on offer. Is it fair that people paid full price to endure its worst weeks? No, it isn't, but I wouldn't begrudge someone wanting to see West Virginia at that reduced cost. As with all these things, your mileage really will vary. The thing that consistently bugs me about Fallout 76 is that a lot of its problems, particularly its technical ones, stem from it being a live game. It is no small task to run a world this big and cater to the behaviour of those who share it. But what stumps me is the fact that having taken on the problems of an online game, it doesn't want to try to get more of the benefits of the genre. As I said earlier, the actual multiplayer experience is so minimal. It's barely more sophisticated than the drop-in co-op of Far Cry or Dying Light. Yet the decision to take Fallout down this route has hampered it in so many ways. Why commit to an always online world if you don't really have a vision beyond killing monsters that you could easily kill by yourself? I'm hoping that there's a bigger idea behind Fallout 76 because, as I said, there are compelling hooks here, be it the vast varied playground or the simple satisfaction of piecing together the weapons you want to go to war with. But all this needs to be funneled towards something bigger, something with purpose. As it is, the community is split between people who hate the game for a lack of a point and a more forgiving community patiently believing that a point is coming. I want to think that I stepped out of that vault for a reason. My worry is that in the end, the only thing we'll want to reclaim is our time. Thanks again to Shadow for sponsoring this RPS video. Shadow is a high-end, cloud-based computer available on any internet-enabled device. Just like any Windows 10 PC, you can use it to work, play or browse. It has the specs to handle any game and comes with an integrated fiber connection, perfect for downloading any game or uploading a video at the speed of light. For more information on Shadow and a discount for RPS viewers, click the link in the description. As you can probably tell from this video, I'm still torn on Fallout 76. I like it enough to give it small chunks of my time, but keep butting heads with it. I'm really keen to hear from people who are still playing it. What's keeping you in this world? What stuff are you enjoying most? What wisdom would you share with someone just starting now? And if you are just starting now, you should check out our tips video, which should pop up on screen now. And if you enjoyed this video or found it useful, please do think about subscribing to Rock Paper Shotgun. We cover all things PC gaming related, and we'd love to have you join us on future adventures. Thanks for watching this video, and see you around soon. Bye for now.